teacher here at Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center. Today, we're going to be channeling the Archangel Jophiel. Now, we spoke a little bit in a past video about the difference between channeling as a way to hear and receive messages and bring them back across the veil versus channeling using your body, using your physical body as a vessel, as a clear and open channel for these frequencies to come into and bring their message onto the earth. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to completely release everything that you think you know about archangels. Just release it. Anything that you've studied, that you've read up on, let it go. Because anytime we step into an experience with a preconceived notion of what something is or should be, anytime we have an expectation, is going to limit what we're able to perceive. It's going to limit what we're able to receive, and it allows judgment to creep in. If I have done research on a particular person from history, for instance, and then I go to channel that person, if I know a bunch of facts from their life, from their physical life here on earth, when they were born, how they died, all the little bits of information in between, then when they channel in as a spirit, connected to all that is, connected to the everything, not connected just to their human selves, then there might be certain messages that try to come through that we automatically block because we think it doesn't fit in line with their story, or we doubt it, we doubt its relevance, or we doubt that it actually happened. We begin to doubt everything because we make preconceived judgments based on what we believe we already know. So I know archangels are all over the internet. They have their own angel number, they have their own color, they have their own thing that they're supposed to be for. But I promise you, every single archangel I have ever met and worked with, none of that stuff is on the internet about them. For instance, I work a lot with Uriel, with Gabriel, and with Metatron. And when these three archangels started coming to me, they told me things that I did not read anywhere else and that I was surprised to hear. For instance, Uriel, when that archangel came to me, it came to me in a female form. And most places that you look online, Uriel comes as a masculine form. But the reality is that all archetypes, all angels, all energy that is neither male nor female, but it's how our mind perceives it. And because it's a frequency, collectively, everyone can pick up these frequencies and their mind interprets it into a certain image. So Uriel's frequencies collectively might feel a little masculine because it has base root energy to it. But when I see Uriel, Uriel comes to me as a female, as mother. Sometimes this angel comes to me as a very large angel with huge wings and lots of white light and gold light. Sometimes this angel comes to me as a tree, like Grandmother Willow from that Disney movie. And I feel that tree wrapping its willow branches around me and encompassing me and holding me. When Uriel comes to me, I know that it's because she's trying to bring me into a state of right now, into a state of peace, into the here and now, just being here now, just letting everything else go, not needing to know anything about the future, not needing to stress about anything from the past. Uriel comes to say, come, you're home, be here now, bring peace. Uriel also teaches me a lot. Uriel is the one who pushes me into certain avenues of learning. I'm always learning. Enlightenment, knowledge, wisdom, all of those things come to me from Uriel. Now, when I met Gabriel, that was a pretty surprising one for me. Not how he came, because he did come to me as a masculine form, but when I met Gabriel, he didn't just come into the room and I am Gabriel. Gabriel came into the room as a channel, sat down inside of my body, and I was instantly aware that the Archangel Gabriel was in my body. And what he made me aware of was the duality within the light. We know a lot about oneness, the light, and the dark. But he told me that since nothing can truly be separated, there is darkness within the light. There's a shadow even in the light spaces only. And in the darkness, there is light that shines also. There's light in the dark and there's dark in the light. They're not completely separate ever. Just like when we teach masculine and feminine energy, they can never be truly separated completely because they're the yin and the yang. So Gabriel is the dark angel within the light. Gabriel told me that he is the angel of death. And I immediately went back to that passage in the Bible about Egypt and the firstborn sons being killed, and if they put the blood over the door, then the angel of death would pass by. And Gabriel said, yeah, that was me. I'm the one who passed by all of those who had the blood oath within them. I passed them by. He said he was the angel of death, and it blew my mind, because here I am thinking the angel of death was like a demon because it's death, right? But death isn't bad. We know that we cycle through all of life, constantly having ego deaths and rebirths, letting the old die within us, letting go of all the old stagnant energies and moving into the light. And so it only makes sense that we don't need a demon to come in anytime we're leveling up or having a rebirth or stepping into something new. That there are specific angels within the light who bring that death. Mind-blowing. So when I work, since I'm on a light path, a right-hand path, when I have to work with things from the past, wounded spaces, or those deaths so that we can continue cycling and leveling up, Archangel Gabriel is the one that comes to me. Now, we met a little bit with Metatron in one of our videos, although he didn't quite introduce himself or channel through, he just kind of sent some messages to me. But Metatron is who I most often see in the upper realms, in the future spaces, having to do with timelines and things like that, because this is the angel that directly connects our energy straight to heaven, straight to those high soul source spaces, however you view that. And so when Metatron comes in, we're looking at that Merkaba vehicle that directly connects, and just those high, pure future type frequencies. And time isn't linear, it's all kind of in a ball. So when I think of super high frequencies, I just think of future because it goes up. And he's the one who connects us there. Now, Jophiel came to me yesterday, and for about a week, I had been seeing a lot of purple lights. I don't believe that Jophiel is known as the angel of the purple ray, because each angel, like I said, if you look online, they each have a ray, a color that is associated with them. Let that go right now. I'm telling you, just let it go. So when I see Jophiel, I see all these purple colors. And so all week I'd been seeing all these purple colors. And I had recently been doing some work with Michael and with Raphael and stuff like that. But yesterday, I was about to leave my healing space in this huge, I mean, all the way up to the ceiling. So it must have been 9 foot tall, just gray mist was standing there. And I said, "Oh, who are you?" Because this is a little scary, right? Angels don't just come like, "Do not be afraid because I'm not scary." They're saying, "Do not be afraid because I'm freaking scary." You know, angels come, they don't just look like the cartoons that we see on the internet. When I first met Metatron, it was a long eyeball coming out of the ceiling, and then he stuck me in a Merkaba. It was an entire thing, an entire experience of just eyes. And a lot of people have those experiences when they tap into the DMT in their brain, or when they take DMT, they see a lot of eyes, or they feel like they're being watched, or like there's eyeballs all around, and it's because they've reached these angelic realms. So just through meditation, I think at this point I had been in meditation for an hour. It was a 2-hour meditation that I sat in. And after an hour and a half, something like that, it was closer to the end, this huge eyeball just comes down, and this is Metatron. I didn't know it at the time, but that's when he put me in their Merkaba, and it started spinning around me like a vehicle and changing my energy and my physical body. I weighed myself when I got home, and I was actually 2 pounds less than I was before that meditation, because I felt him changing my energy and removing everything that didn't belong, so that I could be directly connected to heaven, to the highest energies, to the future of what we're supposed to be doing, or what I'm personally supposed to be doing here. But I digress. Let's come back. So Jophiel is standing in my room, just as this huge 9-foot gray smoky looking mountain blob. And gasp, who are you and why are you here? Because we're expecting something dark or negative just because of the way it looks and the dark colors and how there's no actual form. It's just frequency. And it says, I am Jophiel. And that was it. I said, okay, Jophiel. And that was it. I left my room. Everything was fine. And then through the night, I kept sensing that presence. And even the next morning, Jophiel started coming to me, and I felt that this energy wanted to channel through, sit inside of my body. So this is what we're going to do today. This has not been pre-rehearsed. I have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to let Jophiel actually channel through my body, sit inside of my body, and say what he has to say directly to you. Now, when I do that process, I'm going to turn off the lights. I'm going to make sure that I just have some of these frequencies with the sound and the purple rays, the purple lights and stuff like that. Because if you look too closely, if you take your human eyes, especially if you're not in a meditative state, if you're just scrolling through and watching a video, if you use your human eyes to directly look at a metaphysical thing happening, to directly look at a spiritual thing happening, a miracle happening, anything like that, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to completely dissociate, or you're not going to remember that it happened. And we feel that dissociation sometimes because when we see something strange happening, something that's not normal for a human to see in their day-to-day lives, some weird thing happens inside of our ego, and we're like, oh, that's so weird, and we completely look away. We are forced to look away by our own ego. We look away, we disconnect from it, or we kind of dissociate from it, or we allow ourselves to fall into it and then just don't remember that it ever happened. So what I want to do is I want very soft lighting so that you're not directly staring into the face of this angel through my eyes. That would be very jarring, number one. But even in the Bible, nobody ever directly saw God's face. And I think the one human who was allowed to directly see God's face had to go into a side of a mountain and was never seen again. Because God, miracles, these high frequencies are not meant to be directly viewed by our humanness. They're meant to be experienced. They're meant to be felt. They're meant to be taught. The feeling, the experience, the love that it is. These energies, these angels, all of these higher frequency things are coming in to remind us of who we are and what we're capable of. But remember that we're human too. So release all expectations, release all judgments, anything you think that you know, and let's channel. I am Jophiel, the Great, the holder of this purple ball. Be at peace, be at rest, and know that all is well. I am the just, the fearless, the protector and defender. You may know me as the separator. There are stories where I ran the humans, Adam and Eve, out of the garden after they have eaten the apple. As a concept, this may be true, yet it is not true that I separate. Just as death takes us all, so does guilt and shame separate us all. What I teach is love, self-love, peace, unity consciousness is what I teach. And through that teaching, wisdom, bounding strength, loyalty, trust. Through that strength, you remember who you are and how you are not separate. Therefore, I would appreciate it if you did not call me the separator, but if you called me unity. The one who knows much. I would like to think I know all, as I am one with all. But alas, I am not the highest frequency possible to find. But I will remind you of your purpose when you come back into unity with me. I also cross veils and barriers. Again, I am not a separator, but a unifier. I teach language. I have taught over 45 languages to humans. It is something that I ingrain in their DNA. Therefore, before you are born, you know what language you will speak. This is why some languages are easier for some people to speak and to learn than others. You may have been born an English person or an American, but if I have implanted in your DNA that you will speak French or Spanish or German, then you will easily be able to learn it. This is done randomly to unify the world. With your permission, of course, before incarnation. Sometimes old dialects are used. Sometimes angel language is used. That one's very important. The humans must be able to communicate with angels. Otherwise, we cannot speak, and there is more separation. The unifier. There is a man coming. You should know that his presence is pending, that he holds a light that may not seem on the surface like it is light. In fact, it seems very black on the surface, but inside it is the light that will unify all of humanity. It is the light that holds the purpose of oneness, where animals can speak to people, where trees can speak to animals, where fairies can speak to the rivers. There are those who fear this man. Maybe rightfully so, because everything will change. Everything will spiral. But you will not be ashamed or disappointed by the outcome. Not if you are in a frequency of love, unity, oneness. I wish to speak about worship. I am scanning how to speak about worship to you. How you will best understand what will make you feel the most loved. At the frequency that you're at, quite often worship just feels like giving up control. It feels like worthlessness and that you are not safe. Behold, this has been true in many of your religions, in many of your societies, in many of your governments, in many of your parishes. But alas, you can see that only through complete surrender and control can divinity speak directly to you, can miracles happen, can love and oneness reign once more. I smile and laugh at the words once more because this earth has never known unity. Because as soon as souls were birthed into this dimensional plane, duality was also born. And because of that, it may seem that peace on earth and a unified world are not possible because duality will always exist. That is not true, because you've been leveling up over time, receiving upgrades, receiving new brains, receiving new minds, receiving new DNA as time goes on, so that you have the capability to surrender, to overcome your human primal nature, to bring peace, to live in frequencies of love, and remember that all fear is the separator of love. I am the unifier. So do not be afraid. So when you worship, do not worship man, knowing that worship means complete surrender of control. Because man cannot provide you with divine protection. What you worship and surrender to is your God self, your light within, the oneness, the whole, to unity, to love. Those are the frequencies within which you live, and nothing can touch you. No manner of disease, no manner of harm, no manner of fear, no manner of scarcity. I want to say poverty, but I don't think that's a word in your language. Whatever the opposite of abundance is to you, that's what lives outside of this frequency, and that's what you're used to experiencing. So when you come into this frequency, I will help. You may call on me. I'm quite regal, therefore I will not always be at your beck and call. That was an angel joke. But I am always here to help unify, to bring you those frequencies that you need, to raise yourself up above the heart space and into that of love. This is peace and stillness. Michael is coming in now. The colors are switching to a blue. Time and space. Think of time as something that only exists within this dimension, which means it only exists here, in this universe, in your world. You can view time in geometric shapes like a mesh. I see this as a six-sided figure that holds all of you within. I want to say within its grasp. You are held within the grasp of time because of the dimensional plane that you live in. It's simply a frequency meant to hold your universe together. But you struggle against it so. Probably because your soul remembers that it's timeless, that it's expansive, that it's limitless, that it is unity, that it is God. But stop, please. Stop struggling so hard against time. This is what you call the matrix. And everyone feels stuck in a matrix. But what you're stuck in is time. And time is a womb. All of matter is a womb. It is something that is holding you, that is baking you, that is giving you time to become who you're meant to become. The child inside of the mother's womb does not scream and fight against the safe space that they've been placed within. They simply grow and allow themselves to become their full form, and then they are birthed into the world. I would not call this the real world, but they are birthed into the outer world, outside of the womb. If you're being held here, inside of the womb of the matrix, it is because you are waiting to be birthed into the outside world. That's not negative. It's not something to rail against. It simply is what it is, and you are here, so allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to be nurtured and nourished. Allow yourself to be held. The matrix of time adores you and laughs at your stubbornness. There is nothing to escape from. In fact, there are those who feel they are being controlled by the matrix, by this womb. If you consider an umbilical cord feeding the baby its nutrients to be controlling, then maybe it is. But you are being fed everything that you need to exist and to grow beautifully here. And if there is any control here, it's simply because you have a predetermined set of what you're becoming that you created before your incarnation, or because you're being controlled by your own unique set of belief systems. If your belief systems are controlling you, you can release them and delete them. You don't have to believe anything. You can simply grow, receive, and exist, and you will turn out beautifully. You do not need to have a creed, a religion, a goal, a purpose. You can simply be held and you will end up exactly where you need to be. The only way you don't end up where you think you need to be is when you rail against it, when you fight, when you live in fear, when you try to escape the womb that you're being held in. The aliens are here as well, and they have special things to say. I think that at this point, the aliens simply want you to know without a doubt that they exist, that they are here, that they have been here for eternity. Since the beginning of time, they have been here because they too are simply a separate frequency. Just like I am a frequency and you are a frequency. They are a frequency from a different dimensional space. We are all connected within this web. I am meant to show you the ankh. I am meant to show you the spider, so that you understand our unity. The aliens' purpose here, while varying in nature, is no different than the angels. The aliens' purpose here is for communication. When we bring their dimensional frequencies into this dimensional space, we are bridging a gap. It leaves strands or roads open for communication. If a being from a sixth-dimensional space comes into this third-dimensional space, there is a gap or a road open so that those here can reach sixth-dimensional space. It's not a portal, it's a road of communication. If a being of seventh-dimensional space comes to this third-dimensional space, you now have a road, a telephone line of communication to that space. Do you think that we're only unifying the earth? That's silly. We're unifying all of existence. We are unity. Thank you. I am Jophiel, and I connect you directly. I work with Metatron. I am not his assistant, but as the unifier, I work with Metatron, and we can connect you through what Mary calls the Bliss Point Bridge directly to heaven's space. The bliss point is in the heart. You can feel it when you're in a space of love and unity. Bring purple light back in, please. Do you have questions? I'm going to send you a frequency instead. Some of you have very low frequencies. Some of you have a blockage in the heart. Some of you have neck injuries. And some of you are just very confused. I will send you a frequency. And within a matter of 3 minutes, you will feel better. Thank you. If you have any questions for the angels, please leave a comment. Let me know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, what came up for you during this whole thing, how you feel. And remember that you're witnessing things that can only be experienced truly through your feelings, through abstract space. And it's something to be cherished. It's something that's very sacred and special. Treat it with honor. If you have any questions, any specific angel you'd like to meet, any topic that you would like talked about or questions answered, please just let me know.